During the peak of the morning rush, paramedic Emily Carter was monitoring the vital signs of her critical patient, Mr. Lopez, in the back of the ambulance, fine-tuning his Ford drip. It was a standard Monday morning emergency run on Highway 101. Then, a distant crash echoed through the air. Emily lifted her head, listening intently. The sound was jarring, metal twisting, a violent collision. It signaled severe trauma. "Emily, what was that?" asked ambulance driver Tom, his voice tense, as the radio crackled. "Multiple vehicle collision, Highway 101, mile marker 52, mass casualty event. All available units respond immediately." Emily was already inspecting her field surgery kit. "Emily, major accident." "We're being rerouted," Tom said matter-of-factly. But Emily took an unusual step. She turned to Mr. Lopez and said, "Sir, we're heading to a serious crash," while prepping advanced trauma gear in the ambulance. Unlike her peers, she recognized the trauma level in the collision sound. In the next 15 minutes, everyone on Highway 101 would discover who Emily Carter truly was. Her field surgery skills and combat trauma expertise were second nature. At the crash site, facing 3 critical casualties, Emily transformed. Her movements sharpened, her posture shifted, her hands moved with surgical precision, as if she were someone else entirely. Welcome to Hidden Heroes. Before we dive deeper into this gripping tale, share in the comments which city you're reading from. If you think stories like this deserve to be shared, smash that subscribe button. Emily Carter was a 33-year-old paramedic who had served at San Diego Emergency Medical Services in California for 4 years, working morning shifts during the city's heaviest traffic hours. She was steady, dependable, always making the right call at the right moment. "Paramedic Emily is our rock," said ambulance driver Tom Gwynn. "With her, even the worst cases feel manageable." But Emily's composure stemmed from an extraordinary past, far beyond a typical paramedic's training. Her daily routine in the ambulance was consistent. She started at 6 a.m. and clocked out at 6 p.m., handling heart attacks, car wrecks, emergency interventions, and hospital transports, standard ambulance work. Yet Emily's approach stood out. Colleagues found her calm under pressure peculiar. "Emily, how do you stay so methodical in chaos?" they'd ask. "Training," she'd reply softly. "Every situation demands a systematic approach and precise execution." That training came from a decade as an Army combat medic, a 68W healthcare specialist, performing field surgery in forward operating bases, making life-or-death calls in war zones. Emily Carter's true story began 15 years earlier. At 18, she enlisted in the Army, not out of family tradition or financial need, but something deeper. Emergency medicine fascinated her from a young age, surgery in extreme conditions, life-saving interventions. "I want to save lives in the toughest situations," she told her Army recruiter. After basic training, she completed Advanced Individual Training, AIT, and the Combat Medic Specialist course, earning her Emergency Medical Technician certification. Her performance was exceptional, catching the eye of Special Operations Command. The 68W combat medic training was grueling: field surgery, trauma medicine, low-resource operations, and combat zone support. Emily ranked among the top 3 female combat medic candidates ever. Over her 10-year military career, Emily served in perilous regions, Afghanistan, Iraq, and special operations in Africa, working in forward surgical teams, field hospitals, helicopter evacuations, and combat trauma surgery. Her expertise was field surgery with minimal resources. She conducted over 200 successful battlefield surgeries, operations amid explosions, roadside bombs, and conflicts, often without a proper operating table. "A combat medic must be a versatile lifesaver," said her training commander, Sergeant First Class Reynolds. Surgeon, emergency doctor, and/or technician rolled into one, saving lives with minimal gear. Emily embodied this. She mastered surgical interventions in non-sterile environments, trauma surgery in war zones, and operations in the backs of vehicles. In one Afghanistan mission, her team treated 8 wounded soldiers during a forward base attack. Emily performed emergency surgery on 3, blending field surgery expertise with combat medic training. That mission cemented her as one of the Army's top field surgeons. She received specialized training in low-resource surgery, maximizing outcomes with minimal tools, a skill that proved invaluable in her ambulance work. After a decade of service, Emily retired, driven by PTSD symptoms and a desire for a quieter life in civilian medical service. "Why leave the Army?" her commander asked. "I want to keep saving lives in a peaceful setting, with the same precision, just without the combat," she replied. At paramedic school, Emily was overqualified, with advanced trauma training, surgical experience, and emergency intervention skills. Her instructors never probed her detailed military background. "I've always wanted to work in emergency medicine," Emily Carter had said, "to save people in critical situations." Ambulance service was the perfect fit. The high-stakes environment felt like home to Emily, rapid decisions, life-or-death moments, precise timing, but in a civilian, peaceful setting. When San Diego EMS hired her, Emily was an outstanding paramedic. Exceptional patient care, calm under pressure, technical mastery, but her extraordinary combat surgery background remained a secret. On Monday morning, May 28th, Emily was on her usual shift, handling a routine transport in the ambulance, a heart condition case, hospital transfer, medication monitoring, standard paramedic work. At 9:30 a.m., she was overseeing Mr. Lopez's post-cardiac care transport. The 58-year-old retired firefighter had undergone successful cardiac intervention and was stable. "Paramedic Emily, how long will this take?" Mr. Lopez asked nervously. "About 20 minutes, Mr. Lopez." "Your vitals are strong," Emily replied with professional warmth. But she noticed a spike in ambulance radio chatter, unusual patterns, multiple unit dispatches, accident reports escalating. The radio blared, "Multiple vehicle collision, Highway 101, mile marker 52. Mass casualty event. All available units respond immediately." The ambulance switched to emergency response mode, rerouting from routine transport to crisis response. "Emily, major crash." "We're being redirected," said driver Tom. "Copy," Emily responded, already analyzing the situation, collision sound patterns, trauma severity, casualty scale estimation. The radio buzzed with updates: multiple critical patients, 5 vehicles involved, highway pileup, urgent surgical needs. Emily's trained ear picked up anomalies in the crash sounds, massive impacts, structural damage, high probability of severe trauma. When she arrived at the scene, chaos reigned. Other paramedics performed standard triage, but Emily moved with field surgery in mind. The scene was grim: a 5-vehicle chain collision, 3 critical casualties, multiple trauma cases requiring immediate surgical intervention. Each patient presented unique injuries, demanding complex coordination. Emily instinctively conducted a field surgery assessment, prioritizing abdominal trauma, addressing hemorrhagic shock, evaluating spinal injuries, and planning critical surgical interventions. Her movements shifted to military precision, battlefield coordination, systematic trauma evaluation. The paramedic vanished, the Army combat medic surgeon emerged. In the back of the ambulance, Emily assumed a field surgery stance. Her combat medic training kicked in: patient assessment, surgical priority determination, survival optimization. 3 critical patients needed immediate surgery: internal bleeding, organ trauma, airway compromise. Emily set up a sterile field, prepared surgical instruments, and created an emergency operating environment while other paramedics focused on routine stabilization. "We need to get them to the hospital," a paramedic urged. "Standard transport won't cut it." "We need field surgery now," Emily commanded, her voice carrying combat medic authority. She took a surgical command position, her advanced expertise outshining routine paramedic responses. In the ambulance, Emily issued precise surgical guidance, sterile technique, professional communication, trauma surgery coordination. The first patient faced a dire situation: internal abdominal bleeding, organ laceration, survival hinging on immediate surgery. Emily's expertise took over, calculating the optimal surgical approach, assessing resources, maximizing survival odds. Emergency responders watched in awe as their paramedic executed advanced surgical interventions with professional field surgery precision. 3 critical patients, multiple organ trauma, hemorrhagic shock, urgent stabilization, required immediate action. Emily delivered flawless surgical interventions, directing trauma stabilization and coordinating emergency surgery. Thanks to her expertise, the team stabilized all 3 patients, saving multiple lives. Incredible, said the emergency response coordinator. Are you a surgeon? Emily paused, then spoke softly, former Army combat medic, field surgeon, over 200 successful operations. Silence fell over the responders. San Diego's beloved paramedic was an elite military surgeon. Army combat medic? You were a battlefield surgical specialist, asked lead paramedic Gwen, stunned. 10 years active duty, field surgery, combat trauma medicine, battlefield operations, Emily replied. The emergency crew expressed gratitude for her expert intervention. Ma'am, your surgical coordination saved lives, they said. The rescued patients, including Mr. Lopez, learned of Emily's heroism. Paramedic Emily, I had no idea you were a surgeon, but I always felt safe with you, Mr. Lopez said emotionally. Mr. Lopez, I'm still your paramedic, here for your care, Emily replied. Patient families shared their gratitude. We always knew our loved ones were in good hands with Emily. Now we understand why. Emily Carter resumed her routine paramedic duties, but her colleagues viewed her through a new lens, a blend of respect and awe. How do you shift from Army combat medic to paramedic? Asked rookie paramedic Sarah. Both are about saving lives, Emily replied. Different settings, same mission. Her former Army 68W comrades caught wind of her heroics. Messages and calls poured in from across the globe. Heard about the highway field surgery. Classic Carter precision, one wrote. Once a combat medic, always a lifesaver. Proud of your civilian surgical service. Retired Commander Sergeant First Class Reynolds called personally. I'm proud of you, Emily. Flawless surgical response in a civilian crisis. Sergeant, I just followed our training, saving lives, Emily said. It's what we were built for. Emily's story isn't just about surgical heroism. It's about the evolution of a surgical service spirit, applying military surgical skills to civilian life. From Army combat medic to EMS, from battlefield surgery to emergency care, from combat interventions to compassionate patient transports, always surgical service. The Army taught me to fight, Emily said. EMS taught me to heal. The community showed me both skills matter. Survivors of the Highway 101 crash said of Emily, true surgical lifesavers never stop. They find new battles worth fighting. Her surgical precision that day was a civilian translation of Army combat medic training, military expertise applied to a highway emergency. I'm no longer a combat medic, but the surgical life-saving spirit never fades, Emily said. The mission evolves, but the patients remain. In time, they'd understand. Surgical life-saving takes many forms. So, do you know veterans quietly serving in your EMS community? Hidden military surgical backgrounds contributing expertise to civilian emergencies? Share your experiences in the comments. At Hidden Heroes, we believe the greatest surgical healers shine in the most critical moments. If Emily's story inspired you, share it, subscribe, and help these vital veteran surgical stories live on. Join us for the next hero's tale. And remember, the next time you see an EMS response, highway crash, emergency call, you might encounter workers with military surgical backgrounds you'd never suspect. True surgical heroes adapt their service, but their life-saving precision endures.